we also bring something new this year. We also have a program what we call it Shark Tank, when we bring all the VCs to meet with the project in Indonesia to pitch with them. And then we also have a couple of workshops. This is something new also that we bring to give the educational more intimate, not only talking about on the conference, someone talking on the stage, right? But this is more close loop. People can learn more deeper.
What are the dates?
And the event itself is going to be happening on 12 and 13 August on Jakarta Convention Center. It's a very premium venue. You guys need to come there.
For those of you out there that want to learn more, you want to attend, you want to get educated, and you want to see where the future of the industry is going, this is the place to be. So we're very proud to be involved in part and support. Ourselves and our team and a managing director will be there as well. So we're going to look forward to seeing you there in person.
We're gonna rock it like Herb. Rock it like Herb.
Hello, rockers. Welcome back to Rock It Like Herb. Today we have a special guest with us. We're really excited to have this time. We have Aditya Raflein, which is also known for his name as Raf, which we'll be referring to today. And he holds a fantastic position, and I think it's going to be one of the most dynamic positions and structural growths in Indonesia and Southeast Asia. Today, we're going to be sharing a bunch of information on what it is he's been working on and what the future looks like. And he represents an organization as the CEO and chairman of Indonesia Blockchain Week.
Aditya Raflein is a senior leader with over 16 years of experience in journalism, PR, and marketing. Currently serving as a chairman of Indonesia Blockchain Week and CMO at D3 Labs, he drives strategic initiatives to strengthen Indonesia's digital finance infrastructure through blockchain. Previously, as VP of Marketing at Toko Crypto, he spearheaded key strategies that positioned it as Indonesia's #1 crypto exchange through high-impact branding and communications.
So welcome today, Raf. We're really glad to have you.
Thank you, Herb. Thank you for having me in here. Happy to discuss and explore about what is the industry happened and about Indonesia itself.
Yeah. Well, we've seen some incredible innovation in digital assets, blockchain, infrastructure, decentralized technologies. It creates an enormous awareness. And it's also raised an important question. How do we create lasting value beyond market cycles and technology trends? And this is something that, I'm sure you've got a lot of insight on, and we're going to have a little bit of discussions today. And obviously, when Blockchain Week, Indonesia Blockchain Week starts in August, we're going to have a lot more time. And so we're excited that people are going to be aware of Blockchain Week, Indonesia Blockchain Week starting in Jakarta in the middle of August. So if anybody out there doesn't know about it, please check it out. And if you're able to attend, that would be fantastic. So that's why, looking at that statement that I made, earlier, how do we create lasting value beyond market cycles and technological trends? That's why I wanted, to have the conversation with you, Raf, and also representing as a chairman of the Indonesian Blockchain Week, which we will be, obviously speaking about in this podcast today. So we've got several questions, and we wanted to pose to you about your involvement, about what you see in the future, and how you see the technology evolving. So, background and introduction. I think our viewers are going to love to hear, as I had shared earlier in a conversation we had offline. Let us know a little bit about your background, what it is you've been doing. Introduce yourself, your background in Indonesian Blockchain Week, how you got involved in that, and what's coming up as far as the Blockchain Week in August, as I mentioned. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, thank you, Herb. So Hello, everyone. My name is Aditya Raflein. Normally, people in the Web3 call me Raf, because a lot of easier for foreigner friends to call me Raf rather than Raflein. It's a little bit split tongue, right? So mostly people call me Raf on the Web3. So basically, I get exposed on the Web3 space is since 2018. For mostly for Indonesian, 2018 is very early, right? Early stage, because I think there's a hype in Indonesia is on the 2020 when the bull market happening in 2020. That's when a lot of Indonesian get exposed. Lucky for me, I'm joining on the Web3 space is 2 years before of that, right? So on that time, I founded the Indonesia Blockchain Week in 2019 together with my co-founders Chung Ying Lai, when we are working on the one of the leading crypto exchange in Indonesia, right? So I think on that time, the idea is how we want to bring the idea of Indonesia to the global and also connect the global industry to Indonesia. Because back on 2019, as we know, the regulatory body on Indonesia right now, on that time is very on the early stage, right? We are still on the community asset, and people start talking about the how we want to see this crypto asset to become something meaningful, right? Now, fast forward in 2025, we are now already on the supervision of the OJK. The regulatory body is already changing, and now we are on the financial asset digital. I think it's very, very good, and there's a lot of improvement also. We in 2022, if I'm not mistaken, there's a tax RFV happening in Indonesia. The industry is growing. We see a lot of shipping. That's why right now, on the 6th edition of Indonesia Blockchain Week in 2026, we want to bring more conversations, not only about infrastructure, not only about the idea, but we are more want to talking about more about the impact. What is basically blockchain on general can bring to the industry, to the space, to the in our life, can get beneficial of the blockchain, not only about the crypto itself.
No, exactly. And thank you for that. And obviously you've got some, insight as to what's happening, not just here in Indonesia with regards to, the process of regulatory compliance and how that's working. I just read an article, and some of the viewers will understand this and see it as well, that Japan has just adopted their regulatory controls, and they've just come out and announced that they've solidified and agreed within their parliament on the rules and regulations of what cryptocurrency and tokenization is going to happen. So they're advancing quite nicely. So with regards to Indonesia, do you have any insight for us as to where the process is and what the timeline might look like as far as getting compliance?
Yeah, I think right now in Indonesia, I think there's a lot of new regulation came out, and there's some couple of things also still moving around, right? We just get new regulation, POJK released I think like a month ago about how the bursa is running and how the crypto exchange and how the liquidity is happening in Indonesia, right? So I think, but it's only 1 year already from the OJK. There's a lot of new regulation. We have two bursa now. I think that's a good point of for Indonesia, but there's still a lot of homeworks that we want to push because especially if we say it on the local crypto exchange, when we want to fight the global, definitely we want to see the innovation. We want to see how we can grow the Indonesian market itself, right? So I think there's still a lot of discussion. I think there's a lot discussion also last week, right? There's a forum discussions about what we want to push, and that's also what we want to bring into the Indonesia blockchain rig, right? This is not only talking about discussion about the players, but it's also we want to bring the regulatory body to the conference itself, right? Let's say like last year we get invited, we invite the ministry, we invite from OJK, CEO of OJK, And also previously, there's a lot of, let's say like the chairman of the BVR also come, right? We want to make sure this conversation is not only about the local player, but we want to learn from the global player also. We want to, Indonesian people learn from the project, from the other project, from not only Asia, maybe like from the Europe, from the state and everything's right. So I think that's the idea. And in terms of the what can coming up, I think right now there's a lot of new things in Indonesia. We have a sandbox, we have OJK Infinity. So I think right now it's moving smoothly, and something that we need to take a look more, especially is about the RWA. I think this is something that not only hype in the global, but it's also starting hype in Indonesia itself.
Yeah, no, I mean, you raise a good point on the RWA, world assets. And, the other thing that I know that Indonesia is doing on a positive note is within Bali, they've already got in front of the parliament in Jakarta, a special economic zone to create a financial center mirrored after several other locations globally. And I'm really positive that a financial center of an SEZ will be approved. Once it's approved, I hope and pray that it has the embedment of the crypto rules, regulations, and all of that is going to attract the future of what the financial real world assets and operations are within the tokenized world that we are embarking in the development of. So we're very excited to see how that evolves on the SEZ, and how that's going to impact, the positive way that Bali, Indonesia is going to be viewed financially as a superpower and a destination for stability, for regulatory controls, body stability in that, and also a reduction in what the overall tax and tax incentives may be that are going to attract foreign investment and crypto and all kinds of technology and development in this area. So I think the combination of that is really exciting for all of us that live here, for all of us that are involved in it, and especially for the future of blockchain and what you guys are creating. So yeah, I think it's fantastic. But as you touched on RWA, a lot of people don't understand yet what it is, and there's an educational process that'll occur. But what problem do you see that RWA is actually going to be solving in the short and long term?
Yeah, I think right now when people talking about the crypto itself, right? I think people always talking about volatility, right? There's a very high risk investment on the crypto. That's why a lot of people say that crypto is a scam, right? And true, there's a lot of crypto scam out there, right? So, but I think right now, mostly people joining on the crypto space, they already have the tolerance of high risk investment, right? And definitely when they are already more aware about the investment, and they are really very uh, resistant with the high risk investment, in one time they will looking the other alternative investment, right? The investment that may be like a little bit lower risk compared with the crypto itself, right? So I think in terms of that, I think that's why the real world asset RWA find the sweet spot of it, right? When the RWA turn the Web2 investment become on chain, right? So that's basically the idea of the RWA, right? When people now, let's say like in Indonesia, we have a sandbox program, and I believe there's some sandbox companies who already joined sandbox bring some property RWA. There's some companies bring the bond RWA, and some companies bring fund RWA, right? I think this is very good opportunity, right? We can see, let's say like if we're talking about funds, right? Fund is not something that everyone can join on the investment fund, right? Because the ticket size itself is very big. Let's say like, I think one of the smallest ticket size, if you want to join on the fund investment, is around $100,000, right? Imagine with the tokenization system, now everyone can have access to, let's say, $100 ticket size, right? With the Indonesian economic right now, I think not so many people can joining 100K or 1.8 billion rupiah now, right? So, but imagine if they can buy the ticket size with 1.8 million rupiah only. I think that's very, very reasonable amount for them. Remember, this is already crypto people who already have the resistance of the high risk investment, right? Now they find, okay, this is something, the investment that we low risk, and then it can access, right? And the other also, let's say, like imagine about the tokenized stock, right? When people want to buy the stock from the US, there's a lot of middleman system if they're using normal platform, right? Now with this become tokenized, there's a lot of easier system. One thing of the beneficials right now, they already have their crypto. Maybe they have their own stable coin inside. They have, let's say, they have the USDT, USDC inside their wallet, just them, right? They don't buy any crypto yet because the volatile of the market. They want to find the momentum, but the dollars is there, it's stick there, right? But when there's become tokenized stock, let's say, inside the same platform, now they have another alternative, not only buying the token or coins, now they can buy the stock from the US, right? I think this is a very good opportunity and become open new opportunity, not only for the crypto space, definitely for the crypto space, this is alternative investment, but imagine for the industry itself who get the tokenized, the stock industry, the fund industry, now they find a new client, they find a new customer to can buy their asset, right? Probably maybe these people are already buying the token. They are already buying the stock. They are already buying the fund, right? On the other platform. Now everything is one on the same platform. It's easier for them to manage, and it's gonna be make everyone's happy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, you raise a couple of great points in there. And I think anybody that has developed or been in the space of startups understands, several components of an introductory into a new market. You say about, fractionalization or tokenization, if you want to call, into various spaces, whether it be stock market, whether it be shares, whether it be real estate, all of that is going to open up. Then we have to be, cognizant and aware that the regulatory bodies in the different jurisdictions are not going to restrict different countries from embarking on trades across borders. So there's a lot of regulatory concern that needs to be addressed in order to facilitate that part. And then you've got the implementation part and the vehicles and the technology that's going to allow you to go into that space and utilize what you just shared as being a major game changer on allowing, people with 1.8 billion, $100 as opposed to $100,000 into the market. And then you've got the educational process. And that brings us into segment 3 of what we wanted to talk about today is community building, because community building is education. And, when you look at the real world assets, there's a lot of people in the world right now that hear this buzzword, but, understanding it and what it actually means. And as you've explained it, this is something that I believe us as the industry leaders and being embarked in this, we've got to take some responsibility in sharing the good news on how it works, building our communities, and getting the people to understand what you just shared and make it easy for them in a trustable way so that they are going to feel that they can utilize a small amount of money to penetrate into markets that are going to give them bigger gains. And this is something that I think is exciting as you shared about what the industry is. And so based on that, how do you as being, the Indonesian Blockchain Week and the events that you are occurring, what do you see as far as how that's going to evolve in the long-term success of educating the RWA community?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge right now, if we're talking about the community and RWA, right? I think most common things on the Web3 is Web3 people love to use Web3 words, right? For me, with my background is communications, right?
Yeah.
When we're talking about the communication, it's not about how you twist the word, what you word you use, but how to make people understand what you're talking about. That's the most important thing, right? So I think one thing that through the Indonesia Blockchain Week, we bring all the expertise, right? Not only the Web3, but also the Web2, right? And this, we want to make sure that the discussion is easily understand for the people, not only for the Web3 people, right? But also for the Web2 people. Because if we keep saying the word that people don't understand, there's no point of it, right?
Agree.
So I think that's even for me, like when I discuss with some project about the RWA, there's a lot of new terms that honestly I'm like, what's the point? What is this
Yeah.
terms, right? Let's say like programmable money, and then let's say like what is like asset management, they have the smart fund, right? And then, what is smart fund? And then they explain it. Okay, turn out basically it's very, they have already our normal words, right? So that's this educational part become very important, right? We don't really talking about Web3 to Web3 people only. We want to make sure that people who, even the Web3 people who just joining the Web3 industry, right? They want to learn also. Oh, people now talking about the RWA, like you mentioned. If we do some research, RW fund is like very huge right now, right? A stable coin is very huge right now. But I think what people don't understand itself is what is this, right? How this is can beneficial with them, right? Most people just talking about the investment, just tokenizations and everything. But let's say like I mentioned to you, like you mentioned about frictions, buying from this amount to become a smaller amount, right? It's a very simple word and people can understand easily. That's the educational meaning, right? Not just only using the fancy word, but we want to make sure that people understand the conversation and bring lightning about what this project means, especially like Indonesia right now. I think if we're talking about real world asset, it start with the stable coin itself, right? So it's not really new already, but it's already starting a couple of years back. But the real world asset is become something meaningful, I think like around 2-3 years ago, right? And then now people have a conversation about it, but mostly people don't understand fully about it yet, right? If we're talking about, if we see in Indonesia market, let's say if we seeing what influencers said, right? Indonesia love influencers, right? So I think mostly people still talking about token, right? Rarely people talking about RWA. Why? Because maybe this is something that they don't really take a look yet. They don't really see it as an alternative investment, right? But this is alternative investment, and this is a piece of cake that maybe people who don't really want to high risk investment to take a look alternative.
Right. No, that's good points. I mean, it's very good to see. I mean, when I look back at technology and we give examples of, the cell phone, how it, was a focus. Then we looked at Apple and how they disrupted the cell phone industry with music and cloud and all of these things. The amount of technology and the amount of changes in technology were quite understandable. They were single siloed, maybe 2-3 silos of technology coming into the market. But now when you look at it, this is the intriguing part for me. The silos have escalated massively. So when you look at an introduction of what we would, refer to as a digital age on currencies and asset values, you look at it, you've got stablecoin, you've got blockchain, you've got Web3, you've got real world assets, you've got stock, you've got all these different things that are occurring all at the same time. And, fortunately, we look at the adoption of the mindset within the younger generation being able to absorb all of this because they've grown up in that world of technology advancements. But from, many people's point of view, all of these different things happening all at the same time, in some cases, can be a little bit overwhelming. And this is where BVR One and BVR World is really focusing on is that concern that the market has yet to realize is occurring.
Yeah, you mentioned BVR One. What is BVR One?
Right. So BVR One is very unique, and I want to ask you your opinion as what you feel in the industry is unique about BVR One after I explain what it is we're actually doing. Um, so BVR One and BVR World is our ecosystem. BVR One is a utility token. And so we have existing companies, both in Indonesia as well as globally. And we've operated them now for many, many years, 8 to 10 years. And so what I feel is very unique from us is we're taking operating businesses in 16 different spaces, let's say, services, products, various things. And we're actually building the infrastructure, the technology, and everything that is involved in it, which is extremely interesting for me as being the visionary of compiling all of these things I mentioned to you earlier and more, all at the same time, occurring all at the same time, in order to build the infrastructure behind the transition of small to medium-sized business into the blockchain. That transition is a very complicated transition, as you can imagine. But fortunately, with the partnerships and the vision and all of the components that we have pulled together over the last several years, we have now streamlined it, built our roadmap. We're on phase 2 of our phase 5 roadmap, and it includes the embedment of many different components of business. And so that transition of small to medium-sized business on chain is a market that we believe is going to be the essence of success within the global economy. Because we're all, everybody's focusing on banks, on big institutions. They're all focusing on this area of transactional reduction of friction and reducing costs on how money moves. But how do we help the average to medium-sized businesses that don't have the time, don't have the expertise, don't have the knowledge, don't have the money, don't have the desire, and they're going to actually lose their business because of friction and competition and efficiencies and cost savings if they don't transition? And that's where we're going. We're going after that, and we're building it. We're IP'd it. We have our tech team. We partnered with one of the larger US-based transactional tech teams in the industry. They're working for some significant billion-dollar brands and built their systems. They're building ours. They've built the roadmap. They've done all of that. We've got AI involved. We have a large company and a partnership with one of the larger companies in the AI. We have security, one of the larger companies in globally providing security for all the data and all the information that needs to be stored and will be accumulated. So BVR One and BVR World has assembled, I would say, one of the best teams collectively in their areas of expertise to produce a product and an infrastructure that is going to be rolled out with us, and then eventually all of the other businesses that are going to want to be involved in what we have and what we're going to introduce globally. So that is really, in essence, we could talk about this for days, weeks, months, but in a very short kind of summary, that is who we are as BVR World, BVR One, and BVR Utility.
It's very interesting what you guys do to help the small medium business, and definitely in Indonesia it's very very meaningful because there's a lot of small medium business and there's a lot of limitation for them also.
Oh, huge amounts. I mean, we don't talk about just Indonesia. I mean, of course, I live here. I understand it's a large market and there's a huge transition occurring in Indonesia. But if you look at globally, you look at the continents of Africa, Africa is very similar to Indonesia. They're a younger community, a younger demographics that's growing and leapfrogging an entire ecosystem of traditional ways of doing business, and they're jumping right into the digital world. Indonesia's doing the same. And so you look at, the continent of Africa, you look at what's happening in Asia and the Southeast Asian market. You look at, those demographics and those population base, you're talking half of the world's population. You're talking more than 4 billion people that are in that transition of leapfrog. And then you've got the Western world, Europe, Australia, America, Canada. They are further advanced in some of their knowledge technologies. And so they haven't leapfrogged, they've progressed. And so we're in those markets as well. And we are building two different infrastructure systems. One that is going to be a plug and play into the Western system, which we already have a roadmap and we have a lot of technology built already for that transition. And we also have for the other market, which is yet leapfrogging that and going directly into the digital. So we already have identified the two separate markets in the world, and we've already started targeting both of them to launch at the same time. And so that's really, one of the things that I'm really all about is how are we as an industry looking after the people that are loyal and that bring the value to every customer or to every business, I should say. And if you were to look at it from a business point of view, what are the two most important parts of business? You've got customers, patients, people, and you have your team and your staff that are executing the operational side. Without that, we're not going to have a business. Money comes when those two are strong. Money leaves when those two are weak. Because if you don't have sales and you don't have control of costs, you're losing money. If you're losing money, capital leaves. So those are really important parts I've identified in my career of 40 years of being in business. And BVR ONE and BVR World is focusing on building those two components of business, creating more value for customers, patients, etc., and giving opportunities for the people that actually work in the operations to benefit from that long-term in building wealth. And so we have that all covered within our organization. So, and what we're building. So it's very unique. And I hope we are going to have some more time to chat about that. But before we get carried away with all of that, one of the things I wanted to bring up is, what is it that you'd like to share with us about the Indonesian Blockchain Week? When is it occurring? Who are the people that should be attending? Give some really detailed information so that we can, share it with our viewers and get the word out there, because this is something that we're very proud of being involved with you and the others on your team with, and our team, and we really want to help and do whatever we can to help it succeed. So please.
Yeah, thank you. So basically for Indonesia Blockchain Week itself, right? We gather basically everyone, right? This is place for everyone to connect with anybody. We bring regulators to come in. We bring builders to come in. We bring the top leadership, not only local project but also global project, right? And definitely just people who love to investment on the crypto, right? So basically we bring everyone to discuss about the industry itself, right? Right now we have already very great lineup of speakers. We have a Justin Sun coming again. This is the third time of Justin Sun speak in Indonesia Blockchain Week. We have Gracie Chan, Bitget CEO, will speak also. And then we also, let's say like Pak Yudo Ravis from the Flock, the CEO of Flock. And there's a lot of project. We will have a Kevin Susanto, one of the top influencers. And then we also have trading competition, what we call it Traders Royal, right? It's a very unique trading competition when we involve a lot of people, influencers, to join on the competitions, and people can see, are this influencer that they follow are really good on trading, right? So this is something that we always bring, but we also bring something new this year. We also have a program what we call it Shark Tank, when we bring all the VCs to meet with the project in Indonesia to pitch with them, right? And then we also have a couple of workshops. This is something new also that we bring to give the educational more intimate, not only talking about on the conference, someone talking on the stage, right? But this is more close loop. People can learn more deeper about what they want to learn, right? About the trading, about the other things, right? So I think this is very good opportunity for people, not only people who already get exposed to the blockchain industry or crypto industry, but for the people who just want to learn, want to start to learn, right? This is very good space for you guys, because you guys will meet the real people, you guys meet the leaders that people are already working on the Web3, like not only for 1-2 months, right? Like a couple of years already, right? And also like for the people who working on the companies, let's say like Web3, Web2 companies want to learn more about blockchain, right? This is very good opportunity, right? We will have a RWA companies there, not only about the exchange. We will have D3 Labs, right? We will have a Tether there, right? So I think this is very good opportunity to mostly all the people on industry, right? From business to business, business to customer.
And
right?
what are the dates on that, Raf?
Sorry?
What are the dates?
Oh, yeah. And the event itself is going to be happening on 12 and 13 August on Jakarta Convention Center. Convention Center is very premium venue. You guys need to come there.
Yes, we're going to be there as well, and I understand that I'm going to be talking somewhere. So this will be exciting for us to connect further and share more about the industry and where it's going. So the August 12th and 13th is in Jakarta, and it's at the what location again?
Jakarta Convention Center.
Jakarta Convention Center. So yeah, if you, I'm sure you have a website already set up, so Google it. For those of you out there that want to learn more, you want to attend, you want to get educated, and you want to see where the future of the industry is going, this is the place to be. So we're very proud to be involved in part and support. Ourselves and our team and our managing director will be there as well. So we're going to look forward to seeing you there in person, Raf. So yeah, we're happy that we had this time together with you. We look forward to many more, building a lot of great things. I know you are. You're introducing so much technology. I think as an industry participant, I just want to thank you and your team for all of the initiatives that you're working on behind the scenes that are bringing, all the great things forward and trying to shake out all of the industry areas that bring speculative rug pulls, as we know, into the market. So we appreciate everything you're doing with that. And we thank you for all of the efforts that you and your team are doing. And there's just a tagline that I'd like to say, and at the end, it'll be a little bit of an Indonesian one, so bear with me, Raf. So let's rock your body, mind, and soul only at Rocket Like Herb. And what do we do in Indonesia? We go, semangat.
Semangat.
Let's do it. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Take care.
Take care.
We're gonna rock it like Herb. Herb. Woo. Ah, yeah. Yeah, rock it like